Ladies and gentlemen, if I invite you to pause for a moment and reflect on one simple truth. You were not born to beg for love. You were not brought into this world to shrink yourself for someone else's convenience. You are not here to plead for attention, affection, or basic human respect. Also, I mean, somewhere along the way, society taught us that love is something we must earn. Pieces that we must perform, chase, and sacrifice pieces of ourselves just to be chosen. But real love, true love, is not a prize for endurance. It is not a reward for suffering. It is not something you should ever have to beg for. First of all, ladies and gentlemen, hear me clearly. If you have to beg, it's not love. It's not your destiny to be a passenger in someone else's life, praying for their scraps of attention. You were meant to be a co-creator of love, a participant in something mutual, something sacred, something whole. Love is not supposed to make you feel small. It is not supposed to leave you questioning your worth or wondering if today will be the day they finally see you. Love, real love, is clear. It is handy. It is loud without shouting. It is present without needing to be chased. But you find yourself justifying someone's absence. When you find yourself explaining away their indifference, when you find yourself working twice as hard to keep half a connection alive, understand, you are not in love. You are fighting for your survival. You are begging for something that should flow to you naturally, effortlessly, beautifully. Yet begging for love is emotional starvation. That's slowly, quietly telling yourself that you are not enough. And my friends, that is a lie. You are more than enough. You are a masterpiece, whole and complete, with or without anyone's approval. Today, I want to remind you of the power you already hold. You do not need to fight for a place in someone's life. You do not need to lower your standards just to be tolerated. You do not need to chase after a heart that was never meant to hold yours. Ladies and gentlemen, the love that is truly meant for you will not make you guess. It will not make you shrink. It will not make you beg. It will honor you. It will protect you. It will celebrate you. You are worthy of a love that feels like home. A love that holds you in your fullness, your strength, your vulnerability, your fire. You are worthy of a love that chooses you freely, fully, and without hesitation. And if someone cannot see your worth, if someone cannot meet you with the love you deserve, the answer is not to beg harder. The answer is to rise higher. This is your moment. This is your mirror. This is your call to stop begging for love and start standing in the power of your own beautiful, unstoppable worth, recognizing your worth. You were never meant to beg for love. You were never created to chase someone who constantly runs away. You were never designed to shrink your spirit just to fit into a space that was never meant for you. The moment you feel like you have to plead for attention, affection, respect, there's a moment you must step back and realize, this is not love, but this is survival. And this is fear. This is you holding on to something that is slowly breaking you instead of building you. Real love is not a battlefield where you constantly have to prove your worth. Real love does not make you question your value. It doesn't require you to remind someone of your existence. When love is real, you won't have to chase it. It will meet you with open arms. You find yourself explaining your heart over and over again to someone who barely listens. If you find yourself justifying your presence in their life, begging them to make space for you, you are not in love. You are trapped in a cycle of self-doubt, and that is not what your soul deserves. You are not asking for too much by wanting to be loved fully. You know, you are not difficult for expecting loyalty, respect, time, and care. Those are the basics, the bare minimum. Understand this. You are valuable not because of how much you can give, how much you can endure, or how much you can sacrifice to keep someone. You are valuable simply because you exist. The right person, the person who sees you, values you, cherishes you, will not need convincing. You won't have to beg them to stay. You won't have to force them to understand your heart. You won't have to question whether they are serious about you. Because when someone truly loves you, they move toward you, not away from you. You feel safe, not anxious. They make you feel chosen, not like an option. That you deserve love that feels like home, not a battlefield. You deserve a love that is effortless in its loyalty and fearless in its devotion. So if you find yourself begging for time, begging for commitment, begging for effort, it's not love. It's emotion starvation. And you are not created to live a life half-fed, half-loved, half-seen. You are meant for more. You're meant for a love that speaks loudly, shows up boldly, and never makes you wonder if you are enough. Because you are. You always have been. The love that is meant for you will never make you beg. It will recognize you. It will honor you. It will choose you. Every single day. That's how you're begging and don't even realize it. Sometimes you don't even realize you're begging. It doesn't always look like falling to your knees and pleading with tears. So just these small sacrifices. You look how sacrifice you make every single day just to stay close to someone who doesn't notice you're breaking. Me begging for love is not always loud. It can be silent, but it can be subtle. No, it can hide in your daily choices, in your compromises, in the way you betray yourself just to be accepted. It looks like texting first every time and waiting for hours or days for a response that barely acknowledges your words. It looks like accepting apologies without changed behavior over and over again because you're terrified of walking away. It looks like constantly adjusting who you are, your dreams, your voice, your needs, just to be easier to love. When you silence your needs to avoid conflict, you're begging. When you make excuses for the lack of effort, you're begging. When you accept crumbs and call it a feast, you're begging. Yeah, and this hardest part? Most of the time we don't even see it happening. We think we just been understanding, patient or loyal. We tell ourselves that if we hang on a little longer, things will change. That if we love harder, stay quieter, give more, they'll finally see our worth. But love that has to be forced, stretched, or begged for isn't love at all. It's fear in disguise. It's an abandonment of self. You deserve a love that doesn't require you to erase yourself to be seen. You deserve a love that recognizes your value without you having to advertise it. If you find yourself explaining your pain instead of being comforted, you're begging. If you're always too much or never enough for them, you're begging. If you have to prove your importance in their life every single day, you're begging. Real love does not make you compete for space in someone's heart. It invites you in. It welcomes you with open arms. And it doesn't exhaust you. It restores you. The truth is painful, but it's also freeing. If someone really wants you in their life, they will make sure you never have to doubt it. Yeah, they will show up. They will care without being pushed, reminded, or begged. Your energy, your time, your loyalty, they are sacred. Stop investing them into people who only notice your absence when you finally leave. You are not here to chase love. You are not here to convince anyone that you are worthy. You are here to stand in your full power, to love yourself so completely that you never again confuse begging for love with receiving it. And never again. Why you must walk away when you feel unloved. There comes a moment when you have to stop explaining, stop hoping, and stop waiting for things to change. There comes a moment when you must choose yourself, even when it hurts. If you stay in a place where you feel unloved, you are teaching yourself to settle. You are telling your heart that it is normal to be overlooked, ignored, and forgotten. You are at your spirit that survival is enough when you were born to thrive. And that's not the life you deserve. Walking away is not weakness. It's strength. It's knowing that no matter how deeply you care, you will not abandon yourself just to hold on to someone else. It is not your job to fix people. It's not your responsibility to convince someone to see your worth. You can love someone with every piece of your heart and still recognize that love alone is not enough to save a relationship built on imbalance and disrespect. You must walk away, because staying where love is absent will eventually kill parts of you that you need to live fully. Your joy, your self-respect, your dreams. You must walk away, because every second you spend begging someone to choose you is a second you could spend building a life where you're already chosen, first by yourself. You are worthy of a love that chooses you effortlessly, not reluctantly. You are worthy of a love that sees you in your fullness and embraces you, not a love that only shows up when it's convenient. And sometimes loving yourself means making the hardest decision, to leave behind what's familiar in search of what you truly deserve. It means trusting that something better is waiting, even if you can't see it yet. It means refusing to shrink just to stay small enough to fit into someone else's limited love. Leaving is an act of courage. It's an act of self-respect. It's a declaration that you will no longer accept anything less than what sets your soul on fire. But not by love, you're not losing love, you're creating space for real love to find you. When you walk away, you are not giving up, you are rising up. Your heart deserves a place where it can beat freely, not cautiously. Your soul deserves a space where it can grow, not hide. You deserve peace, not confusion. You deserve consistency, not mixed signals. You deserve a love that feels like coming home, not like walking on eggshells. But choose yourself again and again, because the real love will never make you question your worth. It will recognize you, honor you, and meet you where you are, without needing to be begged. Walk away from anything that makes you feel less than that. Walk away and never look back. How choosing yourself leads to true love and freedom. When you finally choose yourself, everything changes. You stop waiting for others to validate you. You stop looking for love in places where your soul was only ever meant to pass through. You stop trying to force connections that were never meant to last. And in that choice, the choice to stand tall, to walk away from anything that makes you feel unloved, you find a new kind of power, a freedom you didn't even realize you were missing. You realize that love was never something you had to beg for. It was never about convincing someone to stay. Real love was always about meeting someone who recognizes your light because they carried their own. When you choose yourself, you send a message to the universe. I am no longer available for half-loves, empty promises, and broken dreams. I know who I am, and I know what I deserve. And in time, the right people find you. People who don't need convincing to appreciate you. People who show up without games, without confusion, without hesitation. And you also find something even deeper. If you find yourself, you reconnect with your dreams. You rediscover your joy. You rebuild your confidence piece by piece, until you become someone who would never again allow begging to be mistaken for love. And suddenly, being alone doesn't feel like loneliness. It feels like freedom, surrendered. It feels like peace. You start to enjoy your own company. You start to nurture your own spirit. You start to realize that you are whole, not because someone else loves you, but because you learn to love yourself first. That's when true love finds you, not the kind you have to chase, but the kind that chases you. The kind that matches your energy. The kind that feels easy, steady, and secure. Because real love recognizes real love. Loving yourself doesn't mean you'll never be loved again. It means you refuse to be loved poorly. It means you won't settle for anything less than the respect, devotion, and deep, steady affection you deserve. You set a new standard, one that says, if you want to be in my life, show up fully, love deeply, respect consistently. And if they can't, you have no fear in letting them go, because you have tasted your own freedom. You have built your own peace, and you will never again trade it away for empty words or broken promises. You are no longer begging for a seat at someone else's table. You are building your own table. And at your table, love is abundant, respect is non-negotiable, and peace is permanent. Choosing yourself is not the end of your love story. It's the beginning of the greatest love story you'll ever know. The one where you are the hero, not the afterthought. And that is the love you have always deserved. If there is one truth that I hope stays with you after hearing this message, it is this. You are not here to beg for love. You are here to embody it, to live it, to attract it. First within yourself, and then from others who are capable of meeting you where you stand. Or choosing yourself is not selfish. It is necessary. Walking away from places, people, and patterns that starve your heart is not giving up. It is rising up. Because when you finally stop begging, you start becoming the version of yourself that no longer waits for scraps. Becoming the version of yourself that no longer tolerates half love, half effort, half respect. You become whole, not because someone completed you, but because you remembered that you were already complete. We should understand this. True love, the kind that feels like home, does not require you to lose yourself in the process of finding it. It doesn't ask you to sacrifice your dignity, your dreams, or your voice just to be seen. Real love meets you freely, fully, and fiercely. It meets you where you are without you having to lower yourself, shrink your soul, or chase it down barren roads. And the moment you realize that your worth is not negotiable, you shift the entire course of your life. When you choose yourself, you set a standard. You tell the world, and more importantly yourself, that you are no longer available for half-hearted love, conditional acceptance, or temporary affection. You become a magnet for what is real, lasting, and pure. You create space for connections that nourish you instead of drain you, for relationships that empower you instead of diminish you. Choosing yourself unlocks a freedom that no external love could ever provide. It is the freedom to know that even if no one claps, you are still worthy. Even if no one stays, you are stellar enough. Even if you have to stand alone for a season, you will still stand tall, rooted, resilient, and radiant. And yes, it might be lonely at first. Yes, it might hurt to let go of what once felt familiar. But, my friends, I promise you, the loneliness of authenticity is far lighter than the loneliness of begging for love that was never real to begin with. So today, take this moment to reclaim yourself. Take this moment to walk away from anything that demands your silence, your sacrifice, or your soul in exchange for temporary validation. Take this moment to say, without hesitation, I choose me. Because when you choose yourself, the right people, the ones who see you, honor you, and love you truly will find you. And until then, you will have already found the greatest love of all, the love you have for yourself. Final lines. Jag not tells you. Truth is you are not too hard to love. You are exactly enough, and the right love will know it without you ever having to beg. Stand tall. Walk proud. Love yourself fiercely. And never ever beg for love again.